And new rule, if you're a world famous Egyptologist going on the Joe Rogan experience to restore your credibility, maybe you don't show up unprepared to speak to your expertise and act like you're guarding the Ark of the Covenant while hustling papyrus on Canal Street. That's right. Dr. Zahi Hawass's big comeback tour. It turned into an intellectual faceplant. The interview was 2 hours of "I'm right, you're wrong, everything I haven't heard of is fake," and the occasional "I'm a scientist," except for conveniently when I'm not a scientist. Come on, bro. At one point, it was less of an interview and more of a TED talk with road rage. He called Karahan Tepe and Gobekli Tepe fake because apparently the history of civilization ends at the Egyptian border. He had never heard of these sites. Hawass treats any discovery outside of Giza like it's a threat to his retirement plan. Look, Zahi, we get it. You love Egypt more than Joe loves elk meat. But when your strongest argument is yelling, "Shut up! That's not real, it's fake," it's somebody who just brings up the Sumerian kings list, you sound less like a scholar and more like a YouTube comment section with a PhD. It was cringy and embarrassing to watch. Maybe it's time to pass the torch to somebody who doesn't treat archaeology like their personal piggy bank. But don't worry, you can still sell books and run tours, but please stop gatekeeping the past like it owes you royalties. This is about historical finds, not tourism dollars. New rule: if ancient Amazonians could build cities with canals, roads, and churches, maybe it's time we stop imagining the rainforest as just vines, parrots, and barefoot people with no postal code. Archaeologists using LiDAR recently uncovered an 18th century Portuguese colony deep in the Brazilian Amazon. Beneath all of that dense canopy, a city complete with urban layouts, engineered waterways, and yes, of course, churches, because colonialism doesn't sleep even in the jungle. Now, sure, this site only dates back to the 1700s, but it sits atop a long legacy of complex Amazonian cultures that have been building and organizing this land for centuries. Turns out the Amazon wasn't untouched wilderness. It was a place shaped by human hands, minds, and communities long before anybody showed up with a crucifix and a compass. The real takeaway here, though, isn't, "Oh, wow, Europeans built stuff in the jungle." It's that the rainforest has been hiding stories we're only just starting to read about now. And the real achievement is how modern technology like LiDAR is finally helping archaeologists, historians, and indigenous voices fill the gaps together. So instead of treating the jungle like a mystery waiting for some white guy in a fedora to solve, maybe it's time we admit the past was never lost. It was just waiting for us to stop looking for treasure maps and start looking for it with respect. New rule: if a 24,000-year-old bone from the Congo shows evidence of complex math, maybe it's time we stop thinking prehistoric humans spent all day just chasing mammoths with spears and grunting at fires. Talking about the Ishango bone, discovered near the headwaters of the Nile. It's covered in notches that aren't random, they follow patterns, primes, multiples, and what looks suspiciously like subtraction, which means either this was an ancient counting tool or it's the world's oldest Excel spreadsheet carved in a femur. And yeah, some folks still debate the interpretation, but here's the point. Someone 24,000 years ago was thinking in numbers. This wasn't just cave graffiti. This was a cognitive flex. And it throws a big stone spear into the idea that intelligence only shows up when we build pyramids or discover calculus. So maybe it's time to admit math class did not start in ancient Greece. It started wherever people had questions, fingers, and a sharp object. The Ishango bone doesn't just rewrite what we know about early humans. It reminds us that brilliance doesn't require marble columns, just curiosity and a reason to count. And finally, new rule: can we stop pretending that human civilization suddenly turned on like a light switch 5,500 years ago? Yes, Mesopotamia had cities and writing, and it's impressive. But the more we dig literally, the more we realize that this was not the beginning. It was just when we started keeping receipts. We've now dated sites like Gobekli Tepe back some 12,000 years ago, thousands of years before the so called start of civilization. And these weren't campsites. These were massive ritual centers with astronomical alignments and stonework that makes Stonehenge look like IKEA. So either a bunch of hunter-gatherers decided to stop chasing gazelles to build the world's first observatory out of boredom, or we've been underestimating the timeline for a very long time. And look, I'm not dismissing mainstream archaeology. You guys are doing great work here. I'm just saying that overall, all of us, what this is it's about recognizing that history isn't fixed. It's an evolving puzzle. And because we haven't found the whole picture yet, doesn't mean it's not there. It might just be buried, eroded, or in classic human fashion, it was turned into a parking lot or a Walmart or something. So maybe the real new rule is this: ancient people weren't dumb, and civilization didn't just appear overnight 5,500 years ago. It was built, lost, buried, built again, lost, buried, built again, lost, buried. Look, the story isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. And if we can stop clinging on to these tidy timelines from however long ago that we decided on, and we start embracing curiosity again, we might finally stop asking, how could they have built that? And start asking, how much have we forgotten?